listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
All right, big ups to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being on this latest installment of Tuff Tiger Talk. We in this thing. I'm Big Q, talking about all things LSU football, man. And listen, we're gonna keep this thing going after a rough regular season. I can tell you one thing: Coach Kelly is definitely recommitted, and is really talking the talk going into 2025. The transfer portal moves are off the chain. They're bringing in some top-notch talent. They do know that they're losing a lot of offensive players. So to kind of move forward, they're doing the best they can do in the transfer portal. And of course, the recruiting class to put together what they have from left over from this year. We heard about Garrett Nussmeier making a return as well. We'll talk about Harold Perkins in a moment. But, you know, this is where LSU faithful want to see. The Fighting Tiger family want to see this type of behaviors by a high-priced coach. To be honest with you, Coach Kelly's respectable. So, you know, to be able to bring him in here and be able to start building off of what was just a really epic failure of a year in terms of estimation. I didn't see this team as a national championship team, but more certainly I've seen them better than what they are. So anyway, they keep turning heads, man. And this is the latest news right here. Shout out to LSU. Drew Zach Nagy at the Sports Illustrated Network. What's next for LSU after the transfer portal? But they did a really wonderful job here of picking up another fantastic offensive lineman through the transfer portal and Mr. Josh Thompson. And you know, we covered it in the last stream that they were looking at getting this guy. Now they got him. They didn't get the other guy, the defensive back that they wanted. He went to Colorado with Deion Sanders. But in the end, they're building this offensive line to be able to compete in 2025. So let's take a look at this right here. Shout out to LSU Wire here in this one. They covered this one. LSU made a splash on the offensive line, securing the commitment from Northwestern transfer, Mr. Josh Thompson. Now, he's the second offensive line addition this cycle. Last week, LSU signed former Virginia Tech center Braylon Moore. That was a huge pickup too. But LSU losing 4 starters up front, the offensive line was a major priority when the portal opened. Now, Coach Brian Kelly did say the Tigers were going to be aggressive in building a roster. LSU has backed it up so far, assembling one of the best transfer hauls in the country. I think they currently rank number 2. It's a rare find to prove offensive lineman in the portal, but that's what LSU's getting. In Thompson, the Tigers have young blue chip linemen who need to take another step, but Thompson's presence raises the floor of the room. On top of adding Thompson and more, LSU has not seen any of its own offensive linemen enter the portal. So just a little look at Josh Thompson here. See on 3 has him as the 35th guy, 24/7 Sports 64 Rivals has him 30. It's a consensus top 70 transfer, and he's going to bring a lot of good stuff to this. And this is just a brief overview of what Thompson can bring. Versatility. 2023, Thompson played the right tackle for the Wildcats. In 2024, he bumped over the guard. Given how many spots LSU's need to fill, that's versatility should come handy for LSU. The Tigers are giving Tyree Adams a shot at tackle, but if he turns out to be a guard, LSU can give Thompson a go at the tackle position. So needed that experience. LSU needed some experience on the offensive line with Will Campbell and Emory Jones, Garrett Dellinger, and Miles Frazier going off to the NFL. The Tigers has a ton of career snaps to replace. Now Thompson arrives at LSU with over 1,400 power conference snaps. As stated before, 731 of those came at the right tackle position, 657 at the right guard position. Thompson and Moore will be 2 of the most experienced linemen on LSU's roster in 2025. And also a little extra information did you know that he didn't allow 1 sack in the entire 2024 season? In 402 pass snaps in 2024, Thompson did not allow a sack. According to PFF, his 38.5 pass block grade was one of the best marks in all of the Big Ten. He posted a pass blocking efficiency of 99.2. That's off the chain, and surrendered just 2 hits on the quarterback. With Frazier, LSU had one of the best pass protecting guards in the SEC in 2024. Thompson should continue that trend for the Tigers. So getting Josh Thompson here was a big get for LSU because they know that offensive line, there was no success unless the LSU Tigers and the Saints pick up their goddamn offensive line play. No doubt about it. Okay, let's kind of move on to this one. To LSU's Tigers via Sports Wire, Mr. Nagy says Brian Kelly and company will look to add depth to the defensive backfield, but which way will they turn? Let's delve into it. Coach Kelly and LSU Tigers have dominated the portal in December with the program reeling in 14 signings to this point. Coach Kelly did stated that the window opening that program would be very aggressive, and he hadn't fallen short on that promise. Now LSU holds the #1 transfer portal class in America with a slew of immediate impact pieces heading to Baton Rouge. And this is Coach Kelly here saying we'll be very aggressive. Prior to that, he said, I think everybody that followed us knows that we weren't very aggressive in the transfer portal last season. We put together a defensive line using minimal resources. We really put ourselves in a position, and I'll use this term loosely, to stay well under the cap so we can be quite aggressive this year. And he really has. These are some of the commitments gained in the transfer portal. Just to update you guys, the additions on offense: tight end Bauer Sharp of Oklahoma, wide receiver Baron Brown from Kentucky, QB Brian Van Buren from Mississippi State, wide receiver Destin Hill from Florida State, wide receiver Nick Anderson from Oklahoma, offensive lineman Braylon Moore from Virginia Tech, and offensive lineman Josh Thompson from Northwestern. On defense, cornerback Jakeem Jackson from Florida, edge rushers Jamari Butler from Nebraska, Jack Pyburn from Florida, cornerback Mansour Delaney from Virginia Tech, defensive lineman Sador Mitchell from Texas, and the edge rusher Patrick Payton, which is a big one, from Florida State. They also have special team addition of punter Grant Chadwick from Middle Tennessee. Now, with these positions filled, there remains, there remain units that the program will look to add bodies to. Where could LSU turn next? Let's take a look at it. Position of need, #1, safety. If there's one position group in dire need of additional bodies this offseason via the transfer portal, it will be the safety room. LSU has seen Major Burns head to the draft. Said Ryan transferred. They've left, and mainly Javian Tavano, Jordan Gilbert, and Deshaun Spears are remaining. Tavano made the move to safety this month after working at cornerback and in the star role during his first 2 years at Baton Rouge. LSU signed Virginia Tech transfer Mansour Delaney, the #2 cornerback in the portal, but his versatility is a key piece. In addition, he can and has played safety before, where he was certainly effective. Look for that move too. That's a really good piece of information, because that's what I'm hearing, that Mansour Delaney could slide to safety for LSU coming up. Defensive coordinator Blake Baker will have fun with Delaney. He's a versatile piece that can play a boundary, cornerback, safety, etc. Despite this, it's clear as data that the Tigers will attack the portal in search of help at the safety position. Expect the program to add 2 safeties by the time it's all said and done. There's a need for competition in this room, along with overall talent. It makes the portal that much more important. #2, blocking tight ends. LSU has already signed tight end transfer Bauer Sharp to the portal after he quickly became the first transfer to put pen to paper with the program, but one body just isn't enough for the position group. The Tigers have lost Mason Taylor to the draft and Kamorian Pimpton to the transfer portal. I think he went to Texas. I want to say he went to TCU. I want to say, y'all correct me in the chat. Leaving LSU with Trey Daz Green as the lone scholarship tight end for the bowl game. LSU will bring in Sharp along with 2025 signee J.D. LaFleur this offseason, which will give the program 3 tight ends, but finding an additional body will be a key piece to monitor. Green and Sharp have proven hands. In 2024, the transfer portal led the Sooners in receptions. He had 42. For Green, it's a surefire weapon in the receiving game. So will LSU look to add a second tight end via the transfer portal? Time will tell. So that's a few things looking at the tight ends, blocking tight end, and safety. What else is LSU looking to do? Maybe some help at the defensive line. That's another key piece to look at. You can never have too many really good offensive linemen. I mean, to add to it, as well as defensive linemen. Sador Mitchell's a huge interior force. Should help out with the running attack. Them getting those edge guys like Butler, Pyburn, and Payton could really help out on the pass rush. Mansour Delaney and Jakeem Jackson help out in the secondary. Maybe some more offensive linemen there is definitely, like I said before, you can never have too many of those guys. But anyway, adding this much talent to their team, along with the recruits that they brought in for 2025 and the remaining veterans that they have on task, LSU's serious, man, with coming back and making something happen. And speaking of returning players that's coming back, we heard about we heard about Nuss Bus coming back to LSU in 2025. Harold Perkins says he's committed, and this was huge because we was waiting to see exactly, was Harold Perkins returning to LSU? He is. So this is huge for LSU to get Harold Perkins locked in for the defense as well. With all of the guys that they're bringing in, man, it's going to be interesting. Perkins returning gives Blake Baker another athlete to utilize in what LSU hopes is a defense on the rise. So a year ago at this time, it was hard to imagine a future where Harold Perkins would return to Baton Rouge for his senior season. On Friday, Perkins announced his return to the program for one more year, adding another athletic and versatile piece to the 2025 roster. Perkins, who missed the majority of the 24 season due to a torn ACL, will come back looking to boost his draft stock. Once viewed as a first-round pick and preseason SEC Defensive Player of the Year entering the 2024 campaign, Perkins spent most of his second straight offseason working as an inside linebacker before his injury against UCLA in week number 4. Now, Perkins was starting to make a move to the star position where he would be able to cover a number of different roles for the purple and gold outside of the box. It would stand to reason that it would be a position that Perkins returns in 2025 to play. He had 16 tackles and 2 tackles for a loss in 2024 prior to the injury. He racked up 147 tackles, 26 tackles for a loss, 13 sacks in his first 2 years at LSU. About a month ago, Coach Kelly was asked about Perkins and whether or not he had many decisions of his future. So we know for a fact with him coming back, this will be interesting because him and what they have at linebacker will be stellar. The injury actually helped. You've seen Weeks, the linebacker Weeks, turn into a absolute stud, but to have Weeks and Perkins there flying around on defense, it's going to be phenomenal, man, to be honest with you, what they were able to do. So Perkins had been around the building much more in the recent weeks as he goes through the early stages of the rehab, nearly 3 months to the day after the injury. This is a welcome addition to the 25 roster that you couldn't have penciled in even a month ago. Blake Baker will have to be able to do another season of having Perkins in the building, contributing on defense. And I think it's an immense positive to have Harold Perkins to come back with Weeks and all of the stuff they've added with him, the 2025 recruits, the remaining guys that are coming back onto the team, plus, the transfer portal guys. LSU, like we said, has been on the tear. We talked about all of the defensive guys, Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, Jamari Butler, and all those guys that they added. But this was a huge call because we were waiting to see exactly what Harold Perkins going to do. And this is big for us here. So anyway, with that being said, man, listen, we're getting ready for the matchup up against Baylor that's coming up on Tuesday. Tuff Tiger Talk will come back and we'll kind of do a special preview of the bowl game, the Texas bowl game between LSU and Baylor. And we'll go over that as more. So anyway, with that being said, man, y'all feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. I'm Big Q, repping the Tuff Tiger Talk LSU Football Nation, man. We up in this thing. Stand up, man. Y'all hit the subscribe button, notification bell for more reports. I'm going to holler at you on the flip side. Go Tigers. Peace.
Subscribe to the Tuff Tiger Talk channel and stay up to date for all things LSU football.